If you're sourcing from China and you're trying to go beyond Alibaba, you'll hear three labels over and over: sourcing agent, trading company, and factory. And people use them like they mean the same thing. They don't. Here's the honest truth. There's no best option. There's only the best option for where you are right now, your order size, and how much risk you can handle. So in this video, I'll break down what each one actually does, what you gain, what you give up, and how to choose without getting played. 3 lanes of China's sourcing. Think of it like 3 lanes on a highway. Lane 1 is the sourcing agent. Lane 2 is the trading company. Lane 3 is the factory. Same destination, different driving experience. What a sourcing agent really is. A sourcing agent, sometimes called a purchasing agent, is supposed to work for you. They help you find factories, compare options, negotiate, manage the order, and often handle quality control and logistic coordination. The key point is this: a real agent doesn't buy and resell your goods. They facilitate the deal. They usually charge a service fee or commission, commonly around 5 to 10% of your order value. The good ones also bring transparency. They tell you which factory is actually making your product, share certificates or test reports, and can arrange factory visits if you want. If an agent refuses to tell you the factory and only gives you a price, that's usually not an agent. That's starting to look like a trader. Quick reset. Here's the simplest test. Agent equals you are the buyer. Factory is the supplier. Agent is the helper in the middle. What a trading company really is. A trading company is an intermediary that buys from manufacturers and then sells to you at a markup. You usually don't talk to the real factory, you talk to the trading company. They present a catalog, quote a price, and manage everything end to end. Their profit is built into the price. That markup might be small or it might be huge, and it's often not transparent. This is why so many suppliers you see online are actually trading companies. They're marketing a wide range of products from multiple factories, and that's their business model. And because their value is being the middleman, trading companies typically don't volunteer factory identity or original factory documents. They don't want you bypassing them later. Another quick test: trading company equals they are your supplier on paper, even if they don't manufacture anything. What a factory really is. A factory is the actual producer, the manufacturer, the people running the machines. Working directly with the factory means you're buying from the source, no middleman markup. In theory, best unit price and the most control. But real factories usually specialize, narrow product range, specific materials or processes. They're built for production, not hand-holding. And many factories prefer large orders, higher MOQs. They might be set up to work with big buyers, or they rely on intermediaries to handle foreign sales. Also, communication can be a real thing. Some factory sales teams are great, some are not responsive. Some are focused on domestic business, some want container loads only. So yes, you can get the best deal with factories, but only if you can play the factory game. Now let's talk trade-offs, because this is where people get confused. What you gain and what you give up with each option. Let's do this in plain language. Every option is a bundle. You're not just buying a product, you're buying a workflow. Sourcing agents, great when you want options and protection. The biggest strength of a good sourcing agent is flexibility. They can scout multiple factories, vet them, and match you with the right one for your exact requirements, especially if you're doing custom product development, custom materials, custom packaging, something that's not just off the shelf. They also bring local leverage, language, culture, negotiation, and that matters. A lot of small overseas buyers get foreigner pricing without even realizing it. A good agent can often get closer to real local pricing, or at least stop you from making the expensive beginner mistakes. Transparency is another big plus. With a proper agent, you can know which factory is making your goods. You can request the real certificates, test reports, factory details. That's huge if you're building a brand and you care about consistency and compliance. Quality control is also where agents can earn their money. They can coordinate inspections, factory audits, and be your eyes on the ground. And because they don't own the goods, their best case incentive is your repeat business. Agents can also help with smaller orders. If your order is too small for a factory MOQ, an agent can find a better fit, consolidate, or suggest practical adjustments that make your order workable. Now the honest downsides? You pay for it. That 5 to 10% commission is real. Sometimes the agent saves you more than that by negotiating better pricing or preventing a disaster. Sometimes they don't. You have to judge. And agent quality varies widely. A great agent is gold. A bad agent can steer you to the wrong factory, hide kickbacks, add hidden markups, or just be unreliable when issues happen. Also, your factory relationship can be indirect at first. You can still build a direct relationship later, but early on the agent often holds the relationship. One more thing people don't say out loud, conflicts of interest can happen. Some agents are basically traders wearing an agent mask. The safest setup is clear. Transparent factory pricing, clear commission, clear scope. If you remember one thing about agents, is this. Agents can reduce mistakes, but you still need to vet the agent like you'd vet a supplier. Trading companies, great when you want convenience and low MOQs. Trading companies shine when you want speed and simplicity. If you need multiple products, multiple categories, or a whole catalog, a trading company can be a one-stop shop. They already have networks across different factories. You don't need to manage 10 supplier relationships. They also tend to accept smaller order quantities. Factories often want big runs. Traders can take smaller batches, mixed SKUs, or even pull from stock. Communication is usually easier too. Trading companies often have stronger English-speaking sales teams and are built to deal with overseas buyers. Faster replies, smoother process, less friction. Another underrated benefit is backup options. If one factory has capacity issues, a good trading company can switch sources faster than you can. They can also handle value-added coordination, packaging, bundling, export paperwork, consolidation. Basically, they're selling you fewer headaches. Now the downsides, and they matter. First, you almost always pay more. The markup is their business model. Sometimes it's 5%, sometimes it's 20%, sometimes it's much higher. And because it's baked into the quote, you might not even know. Second, you lose transparency. You might never know which factory is making your product. That can block you from improving quality over time. It can block audits, it can block traceability, and it can make you feel blind when something changes. Third, you give up control. If something goes wrong in production, you're relying on the trading company to manage it. If they're proactive and honest, fine. If they're not, it gets messy fast. And fourth, dependency risk. Over time, the trading company becomes your supplier of record. Switching can be painful. And if you ever try to go direct, relationships can get awkward, especially if you don't have factory details. Also, trading companies range from professional operators to very sketchy ones. Due diligence matters. Here's the clean takeaway. Trading companies are a shortcut. Shortcuts can be smart. Shortcuts can also hide potholes. Factories. Great when you have volume and you want control. Going directly to a factory is the dream everyone talks about. Yes, you can get the best unit price, especially at scale, because you remove the middleman margins. You also get direct control. You can talk to the people making the product. You can communicate specs directly. You can work through improvements. You can align on schedules. You reduce the telephone game of messages passing through layers. You also gain supply chain insight. You can audit the factory, check certifications, understand raw materials and processes. That matters more and more for compliance, sustainability, and just brand consistency. And if you build a long-term relationship and you bring real volume, factories may give you better terms, priority production, and better support. But there are real downsides, especially for small and growing businesses. MOQ is the big one. Many factories are optimized for mass production. If you can't meet their minimums, they may ignore you, quote you high, or push you to a trader. Communication can also be tough. Not every factory has strong English support or fast response times. Time zones, WeChat workflows, different expectations, it adds friction. And you're basically running the whole supply chain yourself. Finding factories, vetting them, negotiating, managing shipping and customs, organizing inspections, handling disputes. If you're new, that complexity can be overwhelming. Also, factories are specialized. Great if you have one core product line. Not great if you have many SKUs across categories. You'll end up managing multiple factories anyway. And disputes can be harder when you're small. If something goes wrong and you're not a big client, your leverage is limited unless you have strong contacts, strong QC, and you manage payments smartly. If you're thinking factory direct means less risk because there's no middleman, careful. Factory direct means fewer layers, but more responsibility on you. How to choose without overthinking it? Let's make this practical. Here are the decision filters I'd actually use. First, order size and repeat frequency. If you're ordering small batches, testing demand, or you're not consistent yet, trading companies and sourcing agents will usually fit better. If you're moving into stable, repeat, higher volume orders for a focused product, factories start making more sense. Second, product complexity and customization. If you're doing custom development, tight specs, special packaging, or compliance-heavy products, an agent can be the best bridge because they can manage development and QC without you being on the ground. If you're buying something simple and generic and speed matters, a trading company can be fine as long as you accept the markup. If you're doing serious customization at scale, direct factory is powerful, but you'll need strong process. Third, how many SKUs are you sourcing? If you're building a broad catalog across categories, a trading company or a sourcing agency saves your sanity. If you have one core product line, go deeper with one factory relationship. Fourth, price sensitivity versus time and mistakes. Factory direct can be cheapest on paper, but you might pay with your time and your learning curve. Agents and traders can be more expensive, but they can also prevent costly errors. The cheapest option is the one with the fewest expensive surprises. Fifth, transparency and control. If traceability matters, like certifications, audits, ethical sourcing, consistent production, then lean, agent, or factory. If you're okay outsourcing and you trust the supplier, trading companies can work, but pick carefully. Sixth, logistic and consolidation. If you need to consolidate goods from multiple sources into one shipment, intermediaries can coordinate that more easily. If you're buying one product from one factory in larger lots, factory direct is simpler. Seventh, your experience level. If you're new, having someone on the ground is often worth it. Not forever, but early on. The first order is usually the hardest. The smart hybrid path most businesses end up using. Most real businesses don't pick one option and stick to it forever. A common path is start with a trader or an agent to learn the ropes and validate demand, then move toward direct factories as volume and confidence grow. Another hybrid is go direct with factories but still hire independent QC inspectors so you get the cost advantage without being blind. Or factory direct for your main high volume product and trader or agent for your smaller side products. This isn't cheating, this is just operating like a grown-up supply chain. So sourcing agent versus trading company versus factory is not a right versus wrong debate. It's a matching problem. Match your current stage, your volume, your product complexity, and your risk tolerance to the right sourcing setup. And remember, your strategy can evolve. What works for your first 500 units might be totally wrong for your next 50,000. And when it comes time to pay your suppliers, you don't want to add more stress to the process. That's where WorldFirst can really help. With our smooth, low-cost cross-border payments, you can pay your suppliers anywhere in the world without the hassle of traditional banks. If you're dealing with different factories, agents, or trading companies, we make sure your payments are fast, secure, and simple, so you can focus on scaling your business.